What's up? So, of course, once I got home, about an hour getting home after being down at the house, I passed out and I just basically slept straight on through. I straight shut down. Shut down my social media and all that for a short time just so I just did not get bugged or anything like that. But yeah, that house triggers me really bad. I got isolated and alienated down there pretty severely. I mean, I was alone a lot down there. Over the last roughly 5 years, I was alone for 20 plus hours a day. You know, I mean, and most people are like, well, that's no big. No, the only time I had to spend with my other half was to cook her dinner, listen to her talk about whoever she was obsessing over, whether it was Phil, Yachty, or Jason Bray. I mean, at one moment there, she did talk about some dude that she was working with at work, and yeah, I would have to sit there day in and day out listening to her talk about other men and other women. It's like, can we stop talking about the same people every fucking day all the time while we're together? Anytime I tried to talk to her about something else, it was, I'd get about 5 minutes we'd get about 5 minutes in, and then it was done. She would go find something else to do, or she'd start watching TV, or she'd start checking her phone. So the only conversations we could really have is about whatever she liked or wanted to talk about, which was always about somebody else. What would have been nice is if we could have talked about us during that time. You know, I get people have lives and like, hey, yeah, this happened at work today, blah, blah, blah. You know, that type of shit happens. But when you're obsessing over the same exact people all the time, and the fact that one of them, you'd ask them multiple times to stop talking to because while the guy's tattooing your back, he's talking about fucking your girlfriend right in front of you and his wife. And she's literally, I remember that day like it was yesterday. And she never respected the relationship at all. And yet I had to go years there where I had to start cutting different friends off, even those that she knew I looked at as my sisters. Yes, I love them. I've never done anything with them, have no urge to do anything with them. I understand boundaries and what friends are. And when I love them like my family, it doesn't go beyond that. That's the same thing with when it comes to my male friends. I will love them like my brothers. But I'm not going to sit and obsess over them and talk about them all day fucking long. And then the only time I have energy to do anything is when I'm going to their house, supposedly. Otherwise, I'd be sleeping all fucking day like she'd do to me throughout the weekend. And then if during the week I was the one working and coming home, I would expect dinner. Otherwise, I'd guilt trip her, make her feel like shit, that I'm going to have to go to bed hungry and wake up hungry for work, you know, before work, and I'll be starving throughout work. And that's what she did to me. She only stayed up long enough to eat dinner and then talk about her friends and then pass out. And it was usually about 2 hours. And then I'd get stuck sitting there spending time with her while she slept, because that was the only time I had to spend with her. It was also realistically the only time I wasn't having to feel like worry about getting in trouble. It's not like she'd go beat on me or anything, but people need to realize that mental, psychological, you know, the non-physical forms of abuse still have the same control effects as the physical abuse. She used to do a lot of abandonment, a lot of stonewalling, a lot of isolation. Demonizing never stopped. I mean, all she does is she's real sweet to you and then talks shit behind your back. To the point she got comfortable enough that she talks shit in front of your face. And then talks shit to her parents, let her parents talk shit about you right in front of you. And she'll let you hear it. And you can't say a fucking thing, because if you do, it just adds on to her shit talking. See, I told you he's abusive. See, I told you he yells a lot. See, I told you he does this. See, I told you he does that. She relied on my meltdowns to use those as proof. Like, she would overload me emotionally. I'd be isolated, alienated. I had nobody to turn to, nowhere to go, nobody to talk to. I couldn't even talk to her, like I said, unless it's about somebody or something she was obsessed over. I had to stop talking to a lot of friends and all that stuff because I had to worry about getting accused of cheating. Anytime I was to get text messages from people or something like that, yeah, like my sister Danielle and some of the others, I would end up having to delete those messages because she would go through my phone while I was sleeping. I'd never go through her shit the way she'd gone through mine. And she knew it, because if I had gone through her stuff, I would have caught her cheating a long time ago, especially with the tattoo artist that I told her not to be around. The man didn't respect our relationship or the boundaries of it. He didn't even respect his own marriage. What kind of human being finds a guy attractive who blatantly disrespects his own marriage and talks about banging another woman right in front of his wife? What kind of person are you? And some people, out there want to try and lay claim that I'm some sort of lunatic. If I was a lunatic, instead of letting karma do its job, I would have done what I promised I would have done, what I wanted to do a long time ago, and that was drive my truck right through his fucking tattoo shop fucking doors. But I also realized that they're two peas in a pod. They're gonna hurt each other pretty good, and I think she's gonna hurt him really bad, and he's gonna treat her exactly the way she told everybody I treated her. I don't think that man's gonna be as easy to abuse as she did to me. The only reason why she's there is because the guy has a tattoo shop. He has a business. It's money. And she needs mom's approval because mom is a narcissistic, materialistic human being. When I don't know how many times, and I feel bad for my ex on this because it was fucked up. I'd watch her sit and talk to her mom, be, hey mom, guess what? I did this. I'm finally making this much money a month and a year, and I've got all these benefits. Oh yeah, well your sister's making this much money a month. Completely shutting her down. See, I dealt with the transfer of abuse of what she went through from her mom and her ex-husband, and she took it and put it onto me. She would use the shit-talking, the alienating, the isolating, all that as forms of not just abuse, but control. But then when I started to get to the points where because I would deal with this for long periods of time, and she knew that if she can push it long enough, eventually I would end up basically just melting down. I'd have a breakdown. She knew how to trigger the breakdowns, and she basically knew how to do it at will. I used to leave the house, walk away, get away from her as much as possible, and yet she would still find ways to break me down. And when I'd leave the house, all I could do is go for walks at the mountain, or go out into my shop, or go out in the yard. If I drove, I would probably drive just a couple miles away and pull over and park at a rest stop that was down the road. But she always knew I'd come back home. I had nowhere to go. I didn't have anybody. The neighbors, after a scenario that happened there that involved another person that lived in the community down there that came and tried to kill my neighbors and even pulled the gun on her. And I still remember when the investigator came in and questioned her on everything. When they went to court, her name was nowhere in the paperwork. So my neighbors have been questioning it, why that was, because she was equally involved in that scenario, in that situation, and they dropped her from the entire thing, like she wasn't even a part of it. And so they began questioning crooked cops down there, everything. I know there's crooked cops down there. Officer Fox is one of them. Guy wants to be a dick towards me and all that shit, yet he's the one who, on New Year's night, ends up driving into a telephone pole drunk. But he's back. He's got his badge right. He's back on force. I know he's a crooked ass fucking cop. See, she would use law enforcement as a form of abuse control because she got them to believe. She even got them to believe I was her ex-husband. I actually have court statements showing where she was calling me Jacob Hartman, which is her ex-husband's name, and calling me her husband, and got the police to believe that I was him. I can't, when I went down there, I can't even call 911. They won't come and help because yeah, that's how crooked Klamath Falls Police Department and the county is down there. They're really fucking crooked. I bet anything if they did some internal investigations down there, if the feds did or whoever does that shit, a lot of people down there would end up in jail. There's some really crooked shit going on down there. There's a while there they had the district attorney and her husband working both sides of the court. It's illegal to have a husband and wife working the same case for the defense and offense side of a court case. They can't work both sides of it. They can't do it. It's a big conflict of interest. But no, after that situation happened, because she helped them, which was good. But then anytime they tried to say hi, she would just brush them off as if they didn't exist. So then they quit talking to her. And they'd wonder, I know Rachel, my neighbor's wife, had asked why it wasn't coming over. So, I didn't visit very often over the last two almost 3 years that they lived there. Because I was talking to them yesterday on the phone about that. And they're telling me that it wasn't until later that they realized, after Melissa kept throwing me in jail for shit I didn't even do. And I showed them everything. They realized what was going on. They witnessed a lot of things that was going on. If I was over at their house, they didn't quite understand at first why, as soon as she got home and I got that text message, or she would sneak, what she'd do is, while we were standing outside talking, she'd come over to the fence and hide behind the trees to listen. And the dogs would give her away. So we'd make sure to be, oh, hey, hi, Melissa, that type of thing. And she'd do that to us all the time. And that was part of the reason why I quit going there so much. We had a slight falling out there for a moment there. Because, I got a little irritated with them. But it was just over. It just became just stupid shit. I'm one of those people, like, as you realize, I can be overly forgiving, but my neighbors are actually good people. They witnessed enough too, and so they don't like the idea that I had to sell and move, but they also understand 100% why now. Ironically, I still have their text messages from when that shit happened too, with that other person coming and pulling a gun and shooting at them and then trying to shoot Melissa. Somehow none of that, where Melissa's concerned, it's all been erased from the records. Yeah, I still have a video clip from that day, just a short, quick clip, and of course them and their statements, original statements, they've got them. She's in there, but after that, she was removed from she's not in there. Like I said, there's some really fucked up shit. They were fucking with that court case and with my situation too. The guy that came and tried to murder my neighbors and then tried to shoot her, but ended up with an empty gun, he's got 27 or 28 counts of doing this. And they let him free every time. I guess his girlfriend has almost as many issues too, and all that. But that should tell you what Klamath County is like. Conservative or not, don't move there. if you don't want to deal with take risk of dealing with the legal system, because it's not your typical small town legal system where they're just hard on you. No, they're fucking crooked. There's some serious issues down there, and like I said, I guarantee if whoever does the internal investigations of that type of shit, they're gonna find that there's something really fucking wrong going on down there. Because when I brought what I was dealing with from her to Clackamas County and showed them everything I had, they made it very clear if she was in Clackamas County, she would have been out of her job. She would have already been, she would have been in trouble and been seriously investigated, because I proved more than enough. I provided more than enough evidence to the safe place, which is a women's domestic abuse place that they go for to help. And when they heard what I was going through, they asked me to come in, and I showed them everything. And if I had, at that time, even down to her constantly trying to contact me afterwards, to the point I've got her blocked up. The only thing I have to worry about is emails. I do have a new primary email address, but I do use the other one for my bills still. That's so I'm not getting stacked up with spam, basically. So I do run worry of every time I go to check that email that... Yeah. Because, like, that house, anything like that does trigger me into... I end up with an emotional breakdown. Like what was being seen yesterday, I started shutting down, and then I came home and I just shut down. I'm not dealing with the meltdowns because I don't have somebody there gaslighting and trying to egg on the meltdowns like that. I'm able to go for a walk. I'm able to basically just lay down and pass out. I don't have somebody basically trying to make the situation worse. So the thing I don't understand about relationships is, I thought when you're with somebody, you're supposed to help lift each other up in every way, not break somebody down to get what you want while you cheat on them. I gave everything of myself to that relationship, and literally almost everything just shy of my life. I lost my kids. I lost a large chunk of my family. I lost almost all my friends. I couldn't even get a job without her starting something and causing me to lose my job. I couldn't speak up and defend myself without fear of her threatening to just throw me in jail again. Because they would do it. The county down there, of all things, had to pay me back because, here's the thing: a DA wouldn't take a court case. The DA wouldn't take a court case to charge you something if they felt that they had an actual case to do it. The irony is, I won. I didn't take the fall for all this shit that she accused me of because I proved my innocence on it. The one thing I did get in trouble for was the one thing I fought to take responsibility for, because I don't believe you do something wrong, you need to deal with it. Whether you like it or not, you have to deal with it. And thankfully, it gave me the ability to get the help I needed, because I needed counseling from all the abuse that I was going through, and that's what I was getting counseling for. There's a reason why I was having to learn more, not just about self-awareness and about different emotions and stuff. It's also when I started learning that I had Asperger's. She knew I had something. I was disabled. She knew I was disabled the moment she walked in the hospital 12 years ago, and I was in that hospital room. I don't know what fucking happened there. But she's known for a long time, even before that, I've been disabled. And she started taking advantage of my disability. I got exploited financially by her. If it wasn't for me using up all my money to pay for the primary part of the bills, she wouldn't have had the money to go on dates. She wouldn't have had the money to go cheat on me. She wouldn't have had the money to go to her friends whenever she damn well pleased, 50 miles away, and turn her phone off and then say that she doesn't get reception. But can make video phone calls from the garage to have me show her two friends the pond. I got lied to a lot. I got cheated on a lot. These are all things that I had to live in fear of. Am I going to get cheated on again? Am I going to get abandoned again? Is she going to just call the cops and throw me in jail again? Because I had to live with this for 5 years. And I had nobody to turn to. Nobody to talk to, really. I couldn't really talk to my neighbors about anything. The only time I would is when they would ask when they would witness something. And it was very rare. They would watch me scurry on home, so, within 5-10 minutes of her getting home. If I saw her get home, or I see her walk up to the trees and all that, and we're talking and all that shit. So I'd hurry up, get home, and cook her dinner. So a lot of times I would try to make sure that dinner was done by the time she got into the door or shortly after. When she cooked dinner, it was grilled cheese or on occasions meatloaf, which was probably the most that she would do. Otherwise, she wouldn't cook anything at all. She just wanted a house bitch. She wanted a live-in maintenance man, a roommate, somebody who would basically pay for the primary bills so that she could save as much of her own money to do what she wanted, and then tell everybody that I was this evil piece of shit while she cheated on me for 5 years. And one of the guys being the same guy that I told to back off multiple times, and even told her to back off from, because neither one of them was respecting the boundaries of the relationship and her attitude. That's a friend. No, it's not. You've been cheating on me. Creating multiple Facebook accounts, multiple Instagram accounts, which I got screenshots of that. She deleted one because she got caught. She's been living a double life for the last half decade or more. She got my kids involved to help her with that, especially my oldest. She got her own friends to help her with it. I mean, even her own friends were hooking her up with people. I was being cheated on by multiple people, and then she'd wondered why would blame me for why the relationship failed. I wouldn't touch her or do anything like that because I knew she was cheating. I just didn't have any proof. And I wasn't the type of person to go through her shit the way she'd go through mine. And that's why I still remember her accusing me of cheating because she saw me hearting these comments and stuff. Because of a blacksmith hammer that I was having custom made by a friend of mine, and he was taking pictures and showing me the process of it, through the process of it. And I hearted him because I liked what he was doing, the work he was doing. And I looked at her, I was like, this is a Middle Eastern guy from Afghanistan or Pakistan that is a friend of mine that's custom making a hammer. What the fuck are you talking about? See, she was accusing me a lot of cheating, and it turns out she was cheating the entire time. I've only been with, in total, I've been in 6 relationships, and in total it was 4 people, because 2 of the people were part of 4 of those relationships, so basically off and on. I've always been in long term. The shortest I've ever had in a relationship was maybe 2 years. I'm gotten to the age that, I've been wanting to settle down, be able to focus on who I'm with, focus on my home. If I had my business going, to be able to focus on my business, so that way we could actually start to enjoy the lives that we wanted together. But she was already enjoying her own life with other men and women. For me, it was never about the friends, having friends. It was about the level of obsessing over them, and the level of secrecy, and the level of deception, all of that going on. It's like, there's friends of hers I actually liked, her friend Brenda and her friend Maria, and all these other ones. They were actually decent people. Even some of the guys that I met were decent people. She never heard me bitch about most of those. They're very specific people, and I can go down the list of them. And you'd think it's a big list if I say list, but it's really not. The fact that there's so many more that I don't know about that's been going on behind my back, including a Mr. Baker, at least, because there's no reason why that guy would be contacting me on, at the time, two of my old profiles and my primary profile at the time, and not respond any other way, let alone tagging me into posts. And all. So she's been fucking around with people in town there, all that shit. And yeah, I got blamed for why the relationship failed. It was always about money, is what it is. She's a gold digger. And the only reason why she's a gold digger is because she's so pressed to get her mom's approval, but her mom won't approve her unless she's with a super attractive guy and has lots of money, basically, or she has lots of money by herself in a really big ass house that she can't really, not so much take care of herself, but one person in a giant house like her sister was for a long period of time there. And I don't know if now still, but, and I'm not trying to bash her sister, because her sister's actually was never actually really mean to me, so I don't really have anything bad to say. And whatever she might have said behind my back, I don't know, I don't care. It's just, I'm at the point and I'm at the age that, even though I got hurt, it's not just the age, it's how I've always been. No matter how much I've gotten hurt, I've always had room in my heart to love people. I'm just at the point, I don't want to go in these toxic circles anymore. Primarily with the same person. I've moved on, obviously, from the others. I'm always going to love the people I've been with. I mean, you have to be an idiot to sit there and say, oh, I never loved that person. I hate them. No, you loved them, otherwise you would have never been with them. To begin with. That's just a fact. Unless you're like that person and you don't know what love actually is, and you just use people, and you have a love of materialistic things and obsession, and a lot of other problems, because I'm having trouble believing that person is capable of loving somebody. I'm just tired of being used, and I'm hoping, I'm being honest, I'm hoping God will bless me with somebody that will be as loyal, loving, supportive, all that, like you would expect in a relationship. Like I was trying to do my best in ours until she broke me. And even then I was still being loyal and faithful, and I still prioritized her in our relationship. I had my friends, but I knew where my priorities were. It was at home in my relationship, and what family I had there, which was her and I. That was my family. My kids are grown and moved out. They got their own families now. They're hardworking men. They're doing good by themselves and by their families. Even though we've had a bad falling out, and I'm only talking to my younger son now, I'm still proud of my boys. I don't see having that reconciliation with my older son. There's been so much damage there. I'm not gonna press it, and I'm not gonna expect it. But I've been learning here to keep trying to focus going forward. And yes, situations like going to the house, getting emails like that, those things will trigger my situation. And that's why, that's also why I just wish I could find, to a degree, I could find somebody I could feel comfortable enough around that understands kind of what I've been dealing with. Something you'll find is a lot of people who have dealt with various forms of serious abuse tend to be able to kind of gravitate to each other in a sense, because they can understand better what the other person's going through. They may not know exactly what the other person's gone through, but they can relate easier. And when you try to talk to people who haven't gone through this shit you've gone through, or you've been dealing with, you feel like an idiot. You kind of start to feel like you're going crazy, and they just don't fully understand until they've been there, or unless they've been there. And I found myself in that position. I have trouble trusting most people anymore, even my own friends, and even my longest standing friend. And it's not like he necessarily did anything to deserve it. He's, even through all this, my buddy Nate's still, calling, "Hey, dude, doing all right? Better day to day," because he knows this shit's been really hard. I haven't been out dating. I haven't been out trying to see anyone. I'm not doing what that person has been doing throughout our relationship. But I am at the point I'm really hoping to find someone. In essence, I'm hoping to be the Lewis to I'm hoping to find my Betty to being their Lewis, if you know what I mean. Revenge of the Nerds. Because I know I'm not, a 10. I'm aware of myself. I just have never cared. I've just tried to be myself because I want people to like me for me. I'm not trying to produce an image that is approved by all of society. I just want to be me, and I want people to like me and love me for me, not for whatever mask or clothes I'm putting on that day. I don't want someone to love me because of my bank account or what kind of home I live in. I want somebody to love me for me, the way I do others. I don't care what you have. Sure, it might be cool if you got a pool, go swimming, or you might have a Lamborghini. That shit's, yeah, cool, awesome. If you're in a big rich house, there's a good chance I might not be in it because I'm probably gonna be uncomfortable. Unless you're a friend, family, that type of thing, you're gonna watch me look like somebody who's walking in an art museum trying not to touch anything until over time I get comfortable. But even then, I still don't fully feel comfortable because I grew up in this kind of environment. Was my house like this? No, my house wasn't like the nicest because I was slowly repairing it, plus being burned out, drained in every which way from dealing with the arguing and the abandonment, the isolation, and everything else I was going through, all the mental abuse, and then being financially exploited all that time. I didn't have the money really to go to town. I barely had money to walk 300 feet to the market to get smokes. Barely had the money to go the extra 20 feet to go to the mailbox, basically. It's how I was left all 5 years. Some of my clothes were suffering, they're falling apart. Some of them you still see where they'll have holes in them. It wasn't until I sold my UTV and all that I was able to keep some of the extra money from selling it, that I was able to get this shirt and a couple others. Otherwise, my clothes were literally falling apart. I had holes in everything. I still got to get some shoes because my current ones are, starting to fall apart now. But that's just something that'll come in time. I'll be able to replace here at some point. No, I've been trying to keep myself focusing forward. And after getting home last night, I slept throughout the night. I made sure I wasn't getting disturbed by anything because it's like, no, I didn't realize, and I don't think I'm ever gonna understand fully, the whole trauma aspect of where that house is concerned and being associated to her. Because just the thought of when I go down there and I know I'm about to go there, my anxiety goes out the roof. I start having a lot of trouble. So I know I can't. I've got to try not to ever be around there again. I have to go there one more time. Because I still got to get a couple things from there that I had to leave because there just wasn't room between the truck and the Jeep. After being able to sleep through the night and all, I'm still feeling like I'm going crazy half the time. There's plenty I start to question, okay, is this real or is that not real? Or I had my head messed with pretty bad over the years. Really bad. My entire perception of reality got fucked the moment I realized that the entire time that we'd been together at that house, going all the way back to Gladstone, she was cheating on me. Telling everybody what worthless shit I was. She literally got people to believe I was her ex-husband and I was doing the shit her ex-husband did. Down to getting people thinking I was a pedophile and all this other shit. And it's like, what? Like, I'd be surprised if she's still doing that shit, to be honest. It's just who she is. It's what she does. She did it in front of me, shit behind my back, everything. She didn't give a shit. Because she knew all she had to do is just tell people I was a piece of shit and they believe her. All she'd have to do is call 911. They'd believe her. I had to live in fear of that woman for a long time. Some of the people out there who portray themselves out as being really sweet, kind, generous, somewhat shy and reserved can be some of the meanest, cruelest fucking people that you've ever met behind closed doors. And they don't have to leave a mark to break you. So after getting my sleep and waking up early this morning, I was just kind of clearing my head a little more, just kind of stay focused. And I was thinking on my house. Yeah, I'm kind of jumping a little bit, but I'm trying to transition forward. But while I was thinking about it, I realized that when I got the approval for the loan, the approval, I won't say for how much, because it's more than what I need to get a home down where I'm looking. I was approved for the loan even without the down payment. The numbers I was given was the approval without the down payment, so I could get a home without putting money down. And the homes I've been looking at, if I wasn't to put any money down, my house payments would be like, I want to say around $50 more than what I'm paying right now. That's with no money down. So I'm thankful my credit's okay. There are some positives that came out of this situation in the last 2 years is when I really pushed myself to make sure I could somehow get my credit built up and raise the value in that house. And if that person had stopped their shit and actually prioritized the relationship, and that's at a time I wasn't 100% sure she was cheating, but I knew she was. I just wasn't 100%. I wanted her to be a part of this, to be able to move with, have a nicer home, a nicer place, and with me being able to start a business, we'd have had a better income. She still would have been able to go do the same fucking jobs that she was doing now. I just would have been able to do something I could do, but she's SOL now. She can keep chasing money, and the way she treats people is, she's going to treat them the way she's treated me, and nobody's going to put up with it as much as I did. Yes, I admit, the one thing I worry is I don't want her to actually end up with somebody who's going to genuinely treat her the way she tried telling everybody I treated her. Because then they'll really see the damages then. And that's something I'm afraid of. I don't hate her. I still love her. Do I want to be with her? No. I'm hoping God blesses me with somebody else. And as mean as it sounds, it's not my intention, but I'm hoping that God blesses me with somebody better. I deserve to be treated better than what I was. I know I'm not the greatest looking fucking guy in the world. I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But I do work my ass off, and I do my best, the best I can for my relationship and the person I'm with. But the moment they start breaking me down and doing all that shit while I'm still doing my best to be supportive on their part, I start giving up. There's got to be equal give and take in a relationship, and not constant take with breadcrumbing along the way. let alone all the other shit that was going on. I want to settle down. And it comes to a point, I would rather, I recognize that I would rather live alone for the rest of my life than to be with somebody who's going to more than likely treat me that way again, or anybody who treats me like that. Will I compare whoever I may, if lucky, compare them to my ex? No. Am I going to think that they're going to do to me what the last did to me? No. Am I going to be fearful of possibly going through the same thing when faced with similar situations? Yes. Does it mean that I'm going to sit and accuse them of it? No. When you experience certain things, it's natural for you to have fear that you're going to get hurt again. But when you see it through, that's the only way you'll know if you're actually going to get hurt again or if you're just filling yourself full of shit. That's why I don't like going from one relation straight to another one without dealing with at least most of the baggage that I have, because I don't want to bring along the things that I was dealing with before to the next. It's not their fault what the other person did. I don't know if it'll be possible for me to find somebody to actually love me the way I had hoped I was being loved the last 12 years. And I wasn't. I'm hoping to find somebody that not only can I just give myself to like I did before and full, but somebody that to a degree I can relate to enough that can understand some of the things that I've gone through. Because I don't like secrets. And I like communication. I like people being able to understand each other and where they're coming from. And it sounds bad that I would be more apt to date a woman that's gone through some shit than a woman who's been the one that was creating the shit. And I've been learning those traits kind of very well. Because there are some people out there that I have known that I chose to remove myself from without speaking to at all or saying anything why, because they have those same traits. When it comes to relationships and you're in high school, yes, your focus is going to be on your friends, your girlfriend, having fun. You get into your 20s, your focus is going to start shifting more towards the person you're with and the family and career path that you're building. You're still going to have your friends. You're still going to hang out all the time. All that stuff through college on. But then once you start getting married, the kids start popping, your friends start to slide to the side more because your priorities and your obligations are to your family and the people you have at home. And as you start getting into your 30s, are your friends going to go away? No. But your friends, if they're real friends, understand that you have a family. That your priorities and your importance of your family comes first. Does that mean your friends mean any less? No. Real friends, no matter how much time and distance they are apart, they can still end up hanging out and talking no different as if they had just been hanging out that morning. And most are still able to communicate and talk even on social media. And it doesn't mean that's all you can do is hang out and that's the only friends you can have. That has nothing to do with that. It's knowing that your primary priorities is who you have at home. If you have a family at home, a significant other, even if it's just a boyfriend, girlfriend, and you're trying to build that, take that relationship up to the next level, are you going to sit and obsess over other people and go waste your time spending it with other people and then wonder why the relationship wasn't working? Are you going to intentionally put them in a position where your friends dislike the person you're with, and then you get it to where the person you're with dislikes your friends, which gives you all the free space to do what you fucking want because they love you enough to trust you to not fuck around even when you're with people they don't like. See, I know where my priorities are at. I might be a little bit of a weirdo. I'm awkward. I'm quirky at times. I do have kid-like aspects to my personality. I recognize it. You know, also have the adult maturity to know where my priorities are at, where my loyalties are at, where my faithfulness goes, all of that. If I'm with somebody, 110% of myself is going to them. And that 10%, if I don't have it, I'll find a way to have it. And I'll keep doing so long as they're doing the same. You said a relationship is a give and take. It's equal parts. We talk about two sides of the road. That doesn't mean one person sits on their ass at a bus stop and waits for the other person to come pick them up and carry them along. To take care of both sides of the roads for that person while they're out partying, going on dates, cheating, and obsessing over other people, and then expecting you, the boyfriend or girlfriend, to do the primary caring of them financially and every other thing so that they can keep as much money in their pocket as possible to keep going on those dates to cheat on you. And then tell everybody what kind of piece of shit you are. I will never do that. If I end up with somebody like that, I've never done that, and I will never do that to somebody. Especially knowing what it's like to be in those shoes. I do pray each night that God will bless me to build up the courage to be able to get out there and at some point be able to meet somebody who not only they, but even their family can accept me for me and approve me for me, love me for me, and actually want me around. Not feel like they need to talk shit anytime they want to get approval from their mom or dad, or get approval from their friends, or want to feel important. I also don't want somebody who's going to have the audacity to maybe even lie to people and say that, make it out like they're single and I'm just their roommate. So, with that being said, you know, as you can tell, I'm trying not to get stressed out a little bit from this, and I'm still focusing forward. And then, as I was saying about home-wise, to get back with that, because I jumped in all that, I realized with the loan thing, where I got approved, where I don't even have to make a down payment. I realized with few of the homes, because I went through the mortgage loan calculators for that state, or those states I should say, because there's a couple of them that I got homes that I'm looking at right now. The house payments, if I didn't make a down payment, would be like $50 more. But if I did, like, let's say $10,000 down, it'll actually make my home payments about $75 cheaper than what I'm paying right now. That being said, I'd still have money down, lower my home payments, but it would actually give me, I'm not going to say how much, but it's going to give me enough that I'm not going to have to worry about if I'll have enough to get my business started. It'll actually leave me with a small percentage left over that I can basically say take half of that leftover, put it into an account set up for my business so I have money for the business, you know, emergency funds or what have you. It's not going to be a shit ton, but it'll be enough to at least deal with cash, that type of stuff. And then product, of course. But then the other half I can use to help get by on outside of my current income, and use that in combination so that I have something to kind of get by as business picks up. And no, it's not going to be like 2 years of income. I mean, granted, I live off of, with my income, less than, I'll just say less than $17,000 a year. It's like between 15 and like 16.5. That's what I live off of a year. Obviously, I was not a rich man, so people sit there and go, well, why would that person use you for that? As long as the bills are paid and that kept a roof over their head, they got to keep all their income. So they were technically living beyond their financial capabilities. Otherwise, if they shared the finances or the bills, they wouldn't have the money to go on dates, buy new clothes for dates. They wouldn't have the money to go travel around and cheat on me. So I've been used to living off of basically less than $10,000 a year. I learned how to feed a family of 5 basically for a month's worth of food off of, at one time, about $130, $150 a month. Now it would be closer to probably about, I want to say, $200 to $250 given inflation since then. But by myself, you know, even now I'm lucky to eat one meal a day after all the bills are paid, because I'm still paying bills where that house is concerned. I have to do that until it's fully sold. But anyways, yeah, no, I kind of, when I woke up and was thinking about it, I don't know why I woke up thinking about it necessarily. Then again, I'm being a hopeful person. There is some things I'm not talking about because I don't trust that particular person, because I know they still watch the stuff. Like I said, no, I'm not dating, but I am being hopeful. Because I do want to add to that, but I'm not going to say more. Yeah, I'll just say I am being hopeful. And thankfully, yeah, no, stop. But no, thankfully I've been able to, with that and then the home and all this stuff, I've been able to help keep myself focusing forward. I'm still obviously healing from a lot of shit and from everything. I'm just trying to avoid those triggers until I can learn to cope with those better. I know once the house is fully done and sold, I know I will never have to go there again. Anyways, I just rambled your ears off for going on 53 minutes. I'm sorry. I hope you guys at least enjoyed this. And I mean, if you did, you can give it a like. You know, you can subscribe if you want. I'm just rambling. So, have a good night. Stay safe out there. Do your best to be kind to each other. I know we all have bad days, and even myself, I'll have bad days, and there's times I question if I didn't accidentally talk to somebody the wrong way, or if I was being rude, or what have you. Try to take it easy, and if you're going through some shit, just know it will end. It does get better. You just got to keep moving forward. Thanks for watching. Later.